Well, good morning. Happy Sunday, everyone. Sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. I was waiting for my coffee to brew, and it's still brewing, as a matter of fact. My French press, I think it's about done now. So we're going to get that going. I hope everybody's had a good week and that you're doing all right. Yes, Grumpy Stack, Scott Vid, how you be? And I'm doing all right. And yes, this last week, I had a bite of the COVID and kept me down for a few days. And as you would know so well, so we haven't broadcast since Monday, and because I just wasn't up to it, didn't feel good, didn't it was all a thing of felt like I had a bad cold and still feel that way, but um and it just my mind is just was just a blank. I'd come to the end of the day to broadcast and want to decide if I'm going to do radio, just couldn't do it. So that's the way it was. Brain was wonky all week long. So good morning to everybody and welcome here. And we'll probably not have a great huge long show today either. Mostly because uh, um, I didn't prep anything. I don't know what I want to talk about even. So just the week. How's everybody's week been? My week's been pretty. It's interesting. I said to Rainy yesterday, who's up in Alaska, I said, you know, it's been a pretty uh, bland week for the two girls left home with me, Rowan and Ellery. I said, because all I did was sleep all week, practically, and didn't feel like going out and doing much, and so we were pretty much homebodies. And I said, but I'll make up for it this next week. We'll get things back online. Master Finn, how you doing this morning? And doing well enough to broadcast this morning. Yeah, probably could have on Thursday or Friday, but just the mental capacity did not seem right. Matthew Sainsbury, how you doing in Barbados? Did the kids take care of you? A little bit. Ellery helps out. Look at you. You're all faded out to black over there. There you are. You going to get in the picture? Nope, you're staying out. You're just going to hang right at my elbow. Ellery did a little bit. So did Rowan a little bit. But my children, when I'd walk out of my bedroom just to see what's going on for the day, they spent a lot of time in front of the TV and on the phone
Cobra Kai.
watching Cobra Kai. And I'd come out every time and say, "Hey, can you guys pick up after yourselves? Do you guys like to pick up and clean up after yourselves?" No, they don't. So, hey, Audrey, good to see you. And so my voice is not fully back yet. It's not as choppy as it's been. So today was just a day to say, look, it's mellow. It's Sunday morning. It's not an official radio show. So let's just get on and catch up a little bit. And what are you clicking on my mouse there? What are you doing? Hey, Roger Rabbit, says Romeldian. And everybody else, thank you. And I just watched The Ghost of Gettysburg on Prime. It was terrible. Oh, that's good to know. I hate wasting my time watching what I'm anticipating is going to be a great show. So,
we watched Sea Beast last night.
Can I get to that? You want to get to that for me?
You.
All right. There you go. I was going to get to that. Ryan, and you kind of bumped that up for us. We watched a movie last night, Ellery and I. And Audrey's got to go. I never get to see you anymore, Audrey. So you need to go get some sleep before your next shift. Love you, miss you. Same here. Good to see you, Audrey. Let's see. Now, Stylish Birch, good to see you. Elderberry, good to see you. Why did I set my phone alarm for 8:30 this morning, and it went off at 8:45? I didn't miss it for 15 minutes and hit snooze. I don't sleep like that. I don't oversleep alarms. I'm a fairly light sleeper. Now, that happened to me this last week, too. At some point, when we had to drive Raini to the airport on Tuesday, Raini and Flynn, I set my alarm for 5 a.m. and it went off at 5:30 a.m.
I woke up.
It's weird.
Earlier.
Mm-hmm. You did. So we also, I was going to say, we watched a movie last night. Now, if you're not into animated films, you might like this one. I put up a little post about it on my Facebook last night afterwards because I was rather excited about how well I liked this movie. If you want to see a good movie, Ryan, anybody else out there who mentioned watching a movie last night, Ghosts of Gettysburg.
There was something there was something that looked like Lucy in it.
Yeah, there you go. And so we'll get to that. And but thank you for interrupting. I appreciate that. And this movie, it was a good animated movie. Very well done, of course, with modern tech, as good as animation gets. And it was called The Sea Beast. And if you haven't seen that, The Sea Beast, go look it up. I think it's exclusively on Netflix right now.
It is.
Or you can go see it on. Thank you. It is. She added there, and so you can. It's a film that kind of in the first 15 minutes, not within the 15 minutes, but in 15 minutes of the first 15 minutes, you are experiencing high seas adventure, pirates, treasure hunters, and see, when you say hunters, though, you don't know what kind of hunter. What, a deer hunter or a what? So a hunter, if you mention that,
a beast hunter,
you can't mention it in the context of the film without mentioning what it meant in the film.
It's a beast hunter.
A beast hunter. So sea beasts, sea monsters. And the whole premise was, what if all the old sea monsters you saw drawn on the sides of old maps that are 400, 500, 600 years old, what if those were real creatures and there were hunters of these things? And so it's established very well at the very beginning. The hunters are the good guys, and the sea beasts are the bad guys. And it comes down to a very good story. Some of it's fairly typical of family kid fare in animated movies. And you don't have to play right here. You really don't. It's a little distracting. But if you want to play somewhere, if you want to talk with me, you can, but messing around right there isn't helping much. So there you go. So there's stuff for families and kids and that obvious stuff, other than the obvious elements added for that factor. I thought it was written pretty well. It was scripted pretty well. And I think it's probably because some of the actors they had doing the voices just did a fabulous job. You don't know how much is ad-libbed. You don't know how much is part of the script. But I thought there's an old sea captain in it that's pursuing. He's kind of a Captain Ahab in a way, but a little bit nicer than you might expect Captain Ahab was in Moby Dick. But for 30 years, he's been hunting this red beast. And so his voice is played by Jared Harris. Now, I thought for a minute there were times where this old captain sounded a very Richard Harris-itch, Richard Harris, who played in many things. You knew him as Dumbledore and the original Dumbledore. What else was he in recently? In recent years, like Harry Potter, where he made a pretty good mark on he was Marcus Aurelius in Gladiator. That actor, old Irish actor. And so he, but his son, who is an actor, has been in many things over the years, has that same tonal quality to his voice as Richard Harris did. And there were turns of phrase from the old captain that sounded very much like Richard Harris. And I thought, who do they have doing the voice? Because Richard Harris has been dead for 15 years. And and then I saw in the credits, it's Jared Harris. It didn't even occur to me. It was his son. And then Carl Urban plays one of the main characters, the younger man, aboard the ship, one of the hunters. And Carl Urban, you may know him if you're an old Lord of the Rings movie fan. He was Éomer of Rohan. That was his role in that movie. I'm just trying to think of context within the movie. And he played the new Dr. McCoy in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. So it was good stuff. Let's see. Glad you're on the mend, brother. Oh, Barry is. Nothing tasting good makes for a miserable time. Isn't that the truth? Switching gears rather rapidly there, but Barry, are you did you have the COVID as well? Did you lose your taste buds? I did not this time. The first time I had it, a year and 8 months ago, something like that. I felt like a big sinus headache and sinus cold, and I lost my sense of taste. And I'm glad I didn't lose my sense of taste this time. Maybe mildly, but I think that's only because I had 3 days in there where I couldn't smell anything because of my the sinuses were so stuffed up. The Buzz Lightyear movie is good. Ryan, I heard that the Buzz Lightyear movie was horrible. What was it? I haven't heard why. I'd still like to see it, but I've heard from many sources the Buzz Lightyear movie was absolutely horrible. So, hasn't made me not want to see it. I just haven't had time to review it yet. And I don't know if they thought it was like way too woke or something like that, somebody said. But I haven't heard officially anything about it. Just that it flopped. I don't know why. They're considering it a flop. That's like, what's the movie now that they are not, that they pulled the plug on? The Batgirl movie. Another superhero movie. I think is DC, is Batgirl. And they spent $92 million on that movie. Probably great actors in it. They even had Michael Keaton playing Batman. I don't know in what capacity, an older Batman or what it was, but Batgirl, I don't know who's playing Batgirl. It's somebody I wasn't familiar with. And there's some big names that I don't even recognize when I heard about it. Not right now, we can't. And no, you can't, because the studio pulled the plug on it. They ran it to test audiences, and the test audiences were rejecting the wokeness of the movie, was the big factor. And so they just pulled the plug, which bravo for a movie studio who said we'd rather lose $92 million than put a flop out there because people aren't going to like it. And so wokeness, I don't know what that means as far as content of the movie, but you know what I mean, where everything's gotten so woke nowadays because movie studio heads are run by people who are woke. And but they're also run by people who would rather make money off of their product. So they're starting to realize a little bit that people aren't as into this woke thing as the handful of people that were driving that whole woke movie or a whole woke way of thinking. Woke is not awake. It's not woke is a political thing. And so when a movie is a little too woke, it's just not going to be as successful anymore. Angela Thomas losing 92 million is terrible. I'm sure the insurance company took a huge hit. Yeah, I don't know the details about it, Angela, but from what I have heard and read, the movie was just they considered the $92 million loss better than the fallout financially and reputation-wise of what the movie would do to the studio if it was put out. So they pulled the plug on the whole thing. So I don't know if they were not done yet with the movie but they were already screening it to test audiences. So, that could be it. So that's the way I heard one broadcaster put it, was that the studio said they would rather lose the 92 million than the fallout from putting that out to public theaters. And they made it very clear themselves that the biggest complaint they got from the test audiences was it's way too woke. That's where that came from. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see that anywhere anytime soon. I'm pretty sure you'll still see the studio put that out to video or something. You're going to have a chance to see that, I'm sure. But it's just not doing its theatrical release, which probably doesn't kill a movie as badly as it used to. Because thank you to COVID, nobody went to movies or people don't go to movies as much as they used to. So, wokeness. Thank George Soros and Pritzker family. Yeah, there you go, David Otness. Wokeness. And you got to think, George Soros, for all the bad press he gets, and I think he deserves his bad press politically, my opinion, but he's probably a nice guy who's got grandkids, probably great grandkids. I would think that, I'm sorry, what? Okay, why don't you do it not right here? You can do it in there. Okay? Let's do her makeup. So I'm glad she announced that for you, though. Ellery is now doing her makeup, folks. If you missed that announcement. Matthew Sainsbury says, I know 2020 was when the nightmare occurred of COVID-19. I think it became a bigger nightmare than it had to be because of the politics that surrounded it, believe it or not. So anyway, our whole family got COVID in January of last year of 2020 years, or 2021. And see what happens when you yell things at me? I got the dog at my feet. Lucy, can you move, please? Thank you. The dog has been clinging to me since Raini left. She is Raini's dog, and so she's been as clingy can be. And by the way, Angela Thomas, it was sure good to see you this morning. Nice seeing you here. I don't think I've seen you here before. So glad that you're here. I think I've known you for a long time. And doesn't mean you haven't been here. Probably just means that you show up every now and then. Wendy Robertson, good morning. Hope you feel better. I'm getting there, darling. Folks, Wendy Robertson, a dear friend of mine. I've known her for, I think, longer than I've known my wife. And a good friend of mine in England. And psychic. We've been trying. It's mostly on me, but been trying a couple of times. We tried, and she was ready, and I had to cancel to at least record a show to try to do something. Robertson. So she is amongst many other things and many other talents, she is a psychic medium, and but her mediumship is backed by some of her experience in psychology. So she's a lot like a British version of Sarah Soderlin, if you will. So third time lucky. That's right. So we'll get this done. Let's see what your week is like, Wendy, and see if we cannot do something. The only problem that Wendy and I have is a 6-hour time difference. I think it's 6 hours. If it's 9:24 here, I believe it's 3:24 in the afternoon over in England, where she lives, north or south or east or west of London. I can't remember what direction it is from London. And I would love to go ghost hunting with Wendy, by the way. We're going to try to get over there. Rocky and I meant to say, we're going to try to get over there a couple of years ago, and we were going to go ghost hunting. South, baby, she says. So you're in between London and the English Channel, somewhere in there. So Surrey, Sutton, Surrey it is. I don't know if I should have said that. Now people can go find you in Sutton, Surrey, and she's well worth finding. So we will talk this week, Wendy, you and I. If you're going to stick around for a little bit, it's a nothing show today because for those of you joining us a little later, I had COVID all week. And so I was pretty out of commission. Not the COVID I had didn't seem like anything other than a bad cold. And it's still, you can hear the tendrils of it. But if you remember the broadcast, if you were here Monday night this last week, my voice was already going. And I said, man, I'm getting a cold. And sure enough, by Tuesday, it was full-blown cold. And by Tuesday evening, I said, I ain't doing this tonight. I can't do radio. I can't think straight. And I spent pretty much Wednesday and Thursday, most half of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in bed. Not the whole time. I'd be up every hour, it seemed, every hour or two, checking on the girls because Rainey and Flynn are gone and Ellery and Rowan are home. So I'm Dad. And what's Dad doing for 3 days? Sleeping. And so I would get up. Then there were times where I just said, everybody, can you just let Dad sleep? Don't give me an hour, 2 hours. Uninterrupted. Uninterrupted means don't come in while I'm sound asleep and go like this. Dad, what? Can I use your phone? Or something like that. So, yeah, you had that hunch, eh, David? Yeah, I didn't say anything about it until yesterday, but or Friday. Yeah, Friday when I canceled the show on Friday again. So, and it was like a bad cold where you just felt woozy enough that, I could have gotten on radio and mumbled for an hour any night this last week, but I didn't feel like it. It was just like, I'm drained. I got no brain. I can't, keep two cogent thoughts rubbing together to make any heat. And so I called it all week. And but it's good enough today that we will say I came back sick, said Stylish Birch. Uh-oh. Beth Kirkham, good to see you this morning. I am just a little ill, yeah. I'm on the tail end of COVID. So it hit me on Tuesday, full force. And I didn't, which is nice, I didn't lose my taste buds this time. I didn't have the pounding sinus headache. And I didn't have the full what's the word I'm looking for with COVID? I don't know. It wasn't like, oh, you must have gotten a light strain. People would say, no, it's just I've had it before and I've got the antibodies. And so my body fought against it better than the first time. The first time I was about 2 weeks, 10 days before I started feeling normal. This time it was about 3-4 days and I started feeling normal again. Now it just feels like I got a cold. So, I'm glad it wasn't so bad you had the rough version. Thank you. I don't know what the rough version is. I didn't know there were really versions of COVID. When there's a pandemic, how many versions of COVID could you get? I don't know. So, and was the pandemic as pandemic-ish as we made it out to be? Don't know. A lot of politics played into it into the whole thing. So it's really hard to tell. So, if there was one message in this animated movie that came out kind of strong. There's a young girl in the movie. She's the stowaway, and her name is Maisie. And she makes a point. She loved the stories that she would read in the books from the library about the hunters and the beast hunters at sea and so on. And her parents died at sea as beast hunters, and so she was an orphan. And she would be like the equivalent of maybe an 8 or 9, maybe 10-year-old child at the most. But she realizes that the books she'd been reading were the propaganda that those in power wanted you to know. Now, it wasn't a huge message in the movie, like an overriding, that wasn't the main message of the movie. But she discovered that the things that she had read were written by those who wanted her to know that as a kid. They wanted kids to grow up knowing certain things. And she denounces it at the end of the movie, and toward the end of the movie. It's one of her awake moments, you could say, that she realized not everything you read is exactly how everything happens. So, monkeypox, now that's funny. Not a problem. Well, Biden just declared us in a state of emergency over monkeypox. So, I think there were 6 cases in one state and so on, and that met the criteria for emergency. Well, state of emergency, monkeypox is going to make a state of emergency. They had to find something because we got elections coming in 3 months. So they got to show they're doing something. That's it was all over the news. He was either going to just yesterday and the day before, unless I watched it in some diluted sense of state. He either signed it over the last 2 days or he's been considering signing it over the last 2 days. So that's all I've heard. So that Biden declared a state of here. Let's just look it up. Let's just see if we get anything on it. Over monkeypox. Let's see if anything comes up on this. Biden administration declares monkeypox outbreak a public health emergency. That's on CNBC, CNN with the same headline. As monkeypox spreads, U.S. declares a health emergency from the New York Times. AP News, U.S. declares public health emergency over monkeypox outbreak. So who in the U.S. does that? The Biden administration on Thursday, this is New York Times, the Biden administration on Thursday declared the growing monkeypox outbreak a national health emergency, a rare designation signaling that the virus now represents a significant risk to Americans and setting it in motion new measures aimed at containing the threat. The declaration by Xavier Becerra, President Biden's health secretary, marks the fifth such national emergency since 2001. And so that's where it comes from. It's the administration. So got to get those sweet emergency powers that come with such a declaration. Ain't that the truth? If they can write a, not to get political, folks, but if any administration that's or any party that's in the seat of power could have the powers of a declaration of a state of emergency during an election, then that works, they hope, in their favor.
I did my makeup.
So I didn't see the Who in the article, Beth Kirkham, at least from New York Times, but we all know New York Times is not very accurate anyway. Your hair looks beautiful, and you got some makeup on, a little sparkly on your nose. You look very pretty.
You don't get it.
I don't get what?
You don't get the makeup routine.
I don't get the makeup routine?
No.
I've been watching women do makeup for darn near 55 years, child. So I get it. I don't use it. Yeah, nobody's afraid of monkeypox except politicians want to make everybody else afraid of monkeypox. That's why it's so laughable. I don't need any of this on my desk, okay? Here, why don't you take that?
You said you knew how to do it.
I don't need to do it, though. There you go. Here you go.
Then you don't know how to do it.
Okay, you win, woman. So, never argue with a woman. This is what the end goal always was. Give up your country's sovereignty by using a public health emergency. Well, exactly. That's it. And so William Casey, David Ondas, says, we'll know we've succeeded when the American public believes every lie we tell them. William Casey, ex-OSS CIA director under Reagan. Yeah, pretty much. So, let's see. This is what the end goal always was. Give up your country's sovereignty. Yep, there it is. That's it, Matt Finn. And, hey, Angela Thomas, sneaking in a smiley face there of some sort. And so, if I seem disjointed this morning, I probably am. My brain's not on full functioning capacity here, so still drinking coffee though. Matthew Sainsbury says, problem, reaction, solution. David Icke said about COVID. Well, David Icke, he's an interesting tap, isn't he? I like David Icke. Totally different topic, but about David Icke in general, but I like him. I think he has some good things to say. I think he's a little freaky at times. I mentioned him in one or maybe two of my books. One of my books about the Nephilim. I talked about him. I think it was the Nephilim book. Talked about him and said, I would still love to interview him, but I think he was a little nutty. He went through his nutty phase about things. The reptilians. It was probably the reptilian book. So I can disagree with someone and they can still be a little nutty. Or I can still like them and they can still be a little nutty. That was a message in the movie last night, too. This animated film. Again, she said, you can be a hero and still be wrong. And it was one of the messages. Hey, Mark Eddy, good to see you. And welcome to the chat room. And you can be a hero and still be wrong about something. Still be wrong. Was that there's psychic Angela Thomas? Good morning, Mark. Oh, it's the same Angela Thomas. I don't know why. See, my brain is not firing perfectly. So, no, let's not play that right down here. If you're going to play that, you need to go upstairs. Not in the room, or wear a headset, which there's one right here if you want to use this. There you go. All right. Same rules apply on Sundays, even though we're more casual on Sundays. But children need reminding of the rules every day. It's like we didn't have these rules yesterday, right, Dad? Oh, that's right. We didn't. Let's go over them again. And but those of you who are still fairly new to this channel, to my show, do realize that there's a lot more familial interruption that's become part of the fabric of my show than probably anybody else's. So, what do you mean? How do they go in your ears? They're earbuds. Well, come here and I'll show you. Let's have an earbud session, folks. All I know that this late stage of the game is how little I actually do know. Ain't that the truth? I always say, I've gotten to say over the last 15 years probably, the more shit I know, the more I realize I don't know shit. So, all right, they go with the, see there's a flat end and a curved end. That curved, the flat end goes to the back of your ear. So like this. This would be on this side. So they go in these. I don't like the Apple ones, and you just got to sit them in there so they sit right for you. Okay, you can push them in a little bit. So probe no deeper than you can see. The famous message on the Q-tips box. So let's see. Elderberry says he was telling folks 30 years ago about the government. People laughed in his face. Bet he likes his money. Who are you talking about, Elderberry? Let's see. Beth Kirkham says, right. I don't know if you're talking to somebody in the chat room or me. But the chat room the show has got about a 30-second delay on it by the time you're hearing it. And some people start the show a little late, or they can tune in late and go back to the beginning. And then you could be 6 minutes delayed. So I'm not quite sure at what point you're catching this. Anybody who's commenting over there. So, and Matthew Sainsbury's been studying Nostradamus. He made a startling prediction during his life concerning Henry II of France. I thought you were going to say something modern. He said the young lion will be, yes, all of his quatrains. Yeah, he made all kinds of, he talked about people say Hitler and only off by one letter. And, all the different things and big major things in history. But who knows? Who knows? So I'm gonna have more coffee. I'm gonna warm up my coffee. I had to bring my French press down here with me today because I was running behind. Like I said, I set my alarm. Distinctly remember setting it for 8:30 this morning in case I wasn't gonna wake up because I was up half the night again. And you get the coughing jags, which, knock on wood, haven't had one since we started radio this morning. And they hit you mostly in the middle of the night. Or you're breathing and your chest is rattling with every breath. I'm like, I have to get up. It makes me cough just thinking about it. And so I'll get up and do that. I still have yet to take vitamin D. Vitamin D and zinc, they say, are things that'll help combat COVID. And I didn't take any of those. I need to. It's up in the cupboard. So, but there's a little COVID thing going around. Where we got it the first time we got it, a year and year and 8 months ago. It's more than a year and a half ago. It's over a year and a half ago. We'll put it that way. And we got it because it was going around Cub Scouts. And we were already, I think we were already in school shutdown at that point. And trying to remember when school shutdown was. Was it in 2020, September through January, or was it in 2021, January through May, something like that? Can't remember. There you go. There you go, Doug. It's got all the vitamin D you need. That's cool. Mention your program if you want to, Doug. By the way, you can talk about that all you want. Raini and I are considering doing that. So we're just in the middle of one of those months. It's a move month. Those of you who don't know, we got to move. Now, we knew this place was only going to be temporary, but we didn't know how temporary it was going to be. So we were approached about a month ago by our landlord, which I hate the term landlord, even if I was one, because it's archaic. The connotation of being a landlord should not apply in 21st century. But landlord said, hey, you guys want to renew your lease? You're coming up at the end of August. And we said, yeah, we think it's going to take us another year. She knew we wanted to build. She's a realtor herself. And she's been really nice and good and gracious to us. And I said, yeah, I think even with the tower, we'll stay another year. And so fantastic. She said, I'll get you the lease. Well, a couple weeks went by and I got a text one morning. She says, we were talking about it. The reason you haven't gotten your lease yet, we think we're going to sell the place. And now she didn't offer it to us, but she didn't say, so you want to buy it? No, but they're going to put it on the market and they want to be able to ready it for the fall market because they know the market's hot right now and probably projected to not be very hot in the spring. And so we had the lease pulled before we even got to sign it. And so we were down to, the time she did that, we were down to 5 weeks before we needed to be out at the end of the lease. And I said, well, 5 weeks is pretty short to find a new place that's affordable for my family, that's commensurate with this place. Everything like this place, there's a place exactly like this, 6 doors down from us. I thought, oh, how ideal. But we pay $18.50 a month for this place. That place was $21.50 a month for the same exact place, built by the same builders, same identical townhome, just $300 more per month. And unlike our current landlord, they wanted an additional 50, I think it was, or 75 per month, plus an additional deposit for our dog, Lucy. I said, are you kidding me? And so we went from the place where we were a year ago, where we were across the street from John and Bree. My friends, many of you know them. They come in here quite regularly, or Bree does. And we were there for 3 years at that place. And we were paying $13.50 a month. And then we came over here. All this place has, yeah, it's a nicer place. It's bigger. We were in a townhome there, the big corner lot sitting up on top of the hill. And, it was all right. It was nice. We could make do there. We were just lacking room. Well, this has, the big family room down here, which is our studios. Plus it has the additional bathroom and the additional bedroom. So we had 4 bedrooms here and 3 baths, 3 full baths, and which made it a nice place. But then, of course, it has the tower, which was 3 days after we were in here. Rainey said, we got to move. I go, what do we got to move? What are you talking about? We just moved. I hope you're joking. Well, no, the tower, the radio waves, so on and so on and so on. So anyway, so we went from $13.50 a month to $18.50 a month for this place. Worth it? Well, in this market, it has to be. Now, the interesting thing about and then, by the way, from $18.50 to $21.50, that would have been what? That's an $800 increase in a little bit over a year's time. So we turned down that. They offered us that place, and I said, we just can't do it. I said, my conscience will not allow me. I said, you're asking $300 more a month for the place we're in now, which is $800 more a month than a place that was very similar. Just wouldn't do. So no, thank you, but no, we just can't do it. And so we did find a place which approved us. The only problem is, dun dun dun, the tower. It's we've got the railroad track here, and you can take the path and cross the railroad tracks one door down from us. It goes across, and you're right underneath the tower over there. But then, about just as far the other direction, the tower's halfway in between this place and the new place, which I go drop her off checks over on Monday to get the new place. So, but that place is actually less than this place. Now it has a semi-finished basement. This one's thoroughly finished, carpeted, sheetrock, all that. They've got rooms downstairs, but they don't have egress windows, so she can't push those as bedrooms legally. And it's got the huge space downstairs, and which could be the studios. So, there you go. I think that'll work. Rainey, of course, we went in to look at it about a week ago, and she brought her little meter with her, her ghost detector. Not literally. They use it on ghost shows, but not the K2, it reads the radio waves. And the front room, the living room, was high, but other parts of the house were not high at all. So that's good. It's got a fenced-in yard for Lucy, bigger yard outside the fenced-in yard, outside shed. It's got things that, the one thing we noticed, this woman who rented it out, nice older woman, but she allowed smoking in the house, and I'm a smoker. Now, when I say that, let's define that. I'm not like a pack-a-day habit guy like I used to be, pack and a half a day. I'm like 2 or 3 cigarettes a day type of a smoker. I walked in the house, and I did comment to the owner. I said, it smells pretty smoky. It smells like they smoked in there. She said, yeah, they were here for 4 years. She said, I'll clean that up. I said, it's not a big deal. I said, it's not a game changer for us, but because there's things you can do. And she said we could have free reign to do whatever we want in the basement. She said, if you want to do anything with that, you can. We could put in our own egress window. Rainey even said, even though it's proximity to the tower, said, it's not as bad there. She said, I could actually see buying this house if she was going to put it up for sale. So, yep, Angela, they are going to sell the house out from underneath us. So while I hate moving, I think we've moved 7 times since we've been married. Hey, folks, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. I need to take a break. You can interpret that any way you want. So I'm going to run just my own little commercial. And when it comes back on, I will be off. But don't let that dissuade you. You'll just see my desk chair sitting here in the microphone, hanging out. So let's take a little tiny bit of a break. and so I can take care of some business. All right, hang on, folks. Be right back.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Wendy Robertson, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAlanRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, AlanRoberts.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid Radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
back to me. You ever noticed sometimes you can be out in public, the times where your bowels speak the loudest to you, they scream to you, or when you're doing something, you're on radio, you're in a public lecture, you are meeting the dignitary of some head of state somewhere. I'm sure most of the speak. You're in some important meeting, or you're waiting for that interview, for that prime job that you want, and suddenly your bowels go, "Hey, now." You ever had that happen to you? That happened to me like 30 years ago. It was something I was sitting in a waiting lobby area to meet the president of this company, and suddenly my body goes, "You got a food." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And anyway, and Matthew Sainsbury's talking about creepy curses. That's a creepy curse. Of course, there's no sound. I looked on the screen and it said my mic was not muted, but it doesn't read the dial. I had turned the dial up down. Of course. So there you go. Hey, Morgan Snow. Thank you for those of you who announced that to me. So I don't know that unmute, says Russ. And yeah, that's funny. I look at the control panel on the screen and it says mute. I'm just going to show you this just because for the hell of it. Here, take a look at this. If I share my screen, boom, boom, I share, you can see here. I'm going to take down that banner so you can see a little better what I'm talking about. Let's turn that off. Okay. Yeah, sorry you're going to get that whatever they call that effect because you're seeing screen upon screen. But here's my screen. And as I see it, and I see the window of the broadcast here, which and down here's all my controls. I can click this, which is actually down here. You can't hear me, but I also have down here on the side, I've got my soundboard. And so when I ran out for a commercial break, I turned my sound down. If I forget to turn that's whenever you hear me muted, it's because I'm looking at the screen. The screen says I'm on, but it's not picking up my soundboard controls. That's the controls in the software. I'm not muted. So there you go. Hey, Susie Q, welcome. Good to see you. And so a sure sign that things are returning to normal. There you go. And, I hate that it's defined as, I've probably done that about a half a dozen times on this show. But for all the times that a week's worth of shows plus one, I have forgotten to port up my mic. And yet for the 600 plus episodes we have in archives, 6 of them, 1% of them define me as forgetting to turn up my mic. So there you go. It's the way it is. It's just the way it is. It's the way the world works. See you, Morgan Snow. Glad you could make it in for a little bit this morning. Good to see you. What time is it? It's 10:03. I didn't think I'd make it an hour this morning. The way I felt this morning, just not tip top yet. And I was like, I could still sleep some more. So sleeping is such a wonderful thing these days. Remember when you used to avoid it as a kid? And don't make me take a nap. No, not a nap. And no, I will not nap. And of course, you always fell asleep at some point. But now it's like, oh my God, don't tell me I can't have a nap today. Thank you, David. The show is Also Human. Of all the souls I've encountered in my travels His was the most human. What's that from? Do you remember that? Those of you who are aficionados. Sleep is very important. Sleep is even more important when it's not important. So I like my naps. Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. There it is. Well, Russ Haslage, I knew you would get that one. Did I get the break in the voice right? His was the most human on Earth. So I haven't tried to explain to Kinsey how lucky she is, says Roger Rabbit, to be able to take naps. It doesn't register, but I keep trying. I keep telling my kids the same thing. You don't know how lucky you are that your mom and dad want you to take a nap. There's going to be a day when you'll realize that, but it'll be too late. You won't be able to bring your mat and your pillow and your nappy time to work with you. Unless, of course, you work for yourself. Now, I've worked for myself for pretty much most of the last, well, since 9/11 happened. I worked for one company in there for a few months as a independent contract art director. And, of course, you know, the stints I've had doing like roofing and stuff like that. But those, you add those all up together, maybe a year in the last 30 or last 20, I've spent working for other people other than my clients, meaning punching somebody else's clock. And so, the point I was making with that, it's working for myself. If I need to take a nap in the middle of the day, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking a nap in the middle of the day. Sorry, not available. And, there it is. So this last week, it was like, what part of the day wasn't I napping? I was trying to get naps all day long because, now Raini is a full-time mom. And I have never not appreciated the fact that she works harder than anybody else in this home. It comes up in arguments and stuff. Well, I do more than you do. All you do is take care of the kids. It's like, I don't actually ever say that, folks. I'm not that boneheaded. But remember, I was a single dad myself. Single dad of 3 kids. Sole custodial parent. 24/7. I was on stage for 4 years of my life with my kids before I met before Raini came on the scene and wanted to be part of this mess. And that was nearly 18 years ago. I was just thinking about that the other day. We met in 2004, which was, I got stories to tell about that, but I can't. They're naughty. But we met in 2004 out at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. Now, I had known who she was, as most of you have heard the stories before. She had dated a friend of mine, a guy who was my stage partner in stage sword fighting, rapier dagger. And she was dating him, and they broke up. And Raini was the hottie on the loose out there, and everybody, but she was kind of in the periphery of our circles. And so we'd encounter her every now and then. But we met in 2004. We hung out a bit in 2004. And I wanted to get to know her better in 2004. But in 2004, I was dating someone else. So on again, off again type of thing that I wanted to have work, and it didn't. You don't know that part of the story. But it wasn't until 2005, the next year, that Raini and I really hit it off. And I'd say late in 2004, but it didn't become a thing until summer of right now, this month of 2005. It was during the festival season, which just started this weekend, the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. So it was during August of 2005 when we kicked off our relationship. And then we dated for a couple of years. We got married in 2017 or 2007. So we've been married, what is that, 15 years. It'll be this October. We'll be married, but we've known each other for 18, dated since 17 years ago. And thank you, David. I appreciate that. And maybe when I had dark hair and more of it and was skinny. There you go. That's when Rainey met me. Oh, how I fooled and entrapped her. We'll be joking around sometimes, and she'll say, "You entrapped me." I said, "How so?" She said, "When we first met and started dating, you had dark hair and you were skinny." I said, "Yeah, I sure pulled one over on you, didn't I?" So there you go. It's the way it is. So let's see. I am curious if I have. Nah, it doesn't matter. I was going through pictures the other day. Found an old picture album in my iPhotos on a disc, and I opened that up. And pictures of Rainey and I that go back, almost as far as the very beginning, but not quite. We have kids in all of them. Some old pictures thrown in there. But I can go back on my, what is it on here? Photo booth, which is built into the system on a Mac. And I've got pictures in here that go back to, it's unbelievable. I've got libraries that go all the way back to before I knew Rainey. Now it's updated itself. And so I've got one library is in archive. But when I open that one up, that library goes all the way back to 2004, 2005. This computer I bought not this one, I'm sorry. The Big Mac I bought where I started having photo booth was in 2005, right at the time I met Rainey. So there was stuff going on in there, or the time we started dating. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. I was making a point about the fact that I am no doofus when it comes to understanding the task of women in a marriage. And meaning when you have a family, that a woman is the one that works the hardest because she's the mom. My kids, even now, my children love me, but mom isn't here. They feel lost. It's like, hey, dad's here. Yeah, but mom's not. Mom would do this for me and do that for me. Oh, you're not taking care of us. You neglect us. I'm like, no, I trust in your ability to be humans and do things and figure them out. That's what I've instilled in you, the ability to do things. They're like, no, we need it done for us. Cook for us. I'm like, you know how to cook? Well, to a certain degree. When I was sick, thank goodness we had taught them some skills, and Rainey had taught them. I've taught them that when I was sick and had COVID, I couldn't prepare food for them because I'm, not that they're not in the same house with me, but neither of them have COVID. Thank God, knock on wood. And it's probably about a week since I contracted it. We didn't detect it until Tuesday or Wednesday is when we detected it, but I'd already been sick for a day. So Sunday, Monday of last week is when I picked it up. And so my kids are not sick, thank goodness. So that's helpful. But so I couldn't prep food for them. And so I said, you guys are going to, and I talked them through some things. I said, here's what you need to do. I said, take that down now, mix this into that, and go ahead and do that. Or, it would be something like, they both know how to, Rowan and Ellery at 7, Rowan at 10, they know how to make eggs. They know how to make hash browns. They know how to make sausage if they wanted that for breakfast. They could even make pancakes. They're just a little off on their timing. How do I'm pouring? Let me pour the pancake onto the pan. Where you pour your shapes in your pancakes, and it's like, whoosh. Okay, there's one big pancake. That's the whole family can eat. Have a good day, Angela. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Blessings to you as well. I'm happy to see you here. That's nice. It's nice seeing old friends show up in the chat room. That's a very warms me heart. It does. And so good to have you here for the little bit of time we got you. And so is Leslie here? Did I see somebody say Leslie? Hey, Leslie, if you're here, I don't see you in the chat room for what's showing up here. But welcome if you're in here somewhere. And so all that to say, I don't know what prompted my starting down this trail in the first place. So as you know me so well, I rabbit trail very well. But I still to try to always bring it back to the point. I don't remember how we got on the point. But talking about my wife, I think she's talking about taking care of my kids while Raini isn't here. It emphasizes how much she does do. You don't notice it in day-to-day life because as a couple, now if you're married and you have kids, you know what I mean. The days go by and routines become routines. Things happen every day and you don't realize how much the other person is contributing. My wife would never have to say to me, Raini would never have to say, I'm going to go on strike so you can understand how much work I do. And she would never have to say that. I get it. Now, she might feel like we don't get it sometimes, or I don't get it sometimes, but I do. And that's like when I'm really busy, I'm like, damn it, woman, will you keep up? And when she's busy, damn it, man, will you keep up? I think some of that is the ability for all of us to take our partners for granted. They're always going to be there. They're always going to do their thing. They're always going to be happy. My wife will always wake up with a rose in her teeth and go, take me now before the day starts, you hunk of a man, so I can go and start making breakfast for the kids. And when you realize that that's not exactly how life works, well, for most people, it does for us. But, no, most people don't have that. I'm just looking to see if anybody's at my front door. I get a shot up the stairway to the side light of my front door, and nobody's there, but the dog's barking at something. And of course, oh, by the way, the dog, I woke up at one point at 2:10 in the morning this morning, and the dog's kind of whimpering at my feet. And I said, you got to go outside. Let me take you outside. And so I took her outside, and she's a runner. Doesn't matter how much she loves you, knows where her food's coming from, know who's the boss. If she can get away and go gallivanting, she's like, fuck you all. I'm running. Catch me if you can. So I opened the garage door, the big door, and I always tell her, you wait. She'll stop. She'll listen to my voice because we got a cable out on the front that's hooked up to something out there, and hook her on the collar, and she goes out in the yard. And because it's not a fenced yard here. And so last night, 2:10 in the morning, we're going outside. We get to the end of the garage door. I go, you wait. And she sits and waits, but then she catches her eye on something, starts barking and takes off across there. And I go, you little MFer. Here I am, I'm barefoot. It's dewy outside. Well, it had rained. The last thing I want to do is in the dark, go chasing the dog down the street. And it doesn't help to chase her anyway. You chase them. They're like, you can't catch me. And then they end up coming back to the same spot. And you've done your circuitous route of the neighborhood trying to catch her. And then she just ends up right back in the garage door. Did you have fun? I took you for a walk, moron. And so anyway, how opportune. It was talking about how opportune our bodies are. we could be in the middle of something and all of a sudden you got to poo. And it's like, what? Does my brain have no sense of what my life is like? Why now? Well, there were people walking across the street on the sidewalk. And there was a big concert here at the amphitheater in town last night. And so I'm sure there were still some stragglers, but it's 2:10 in the morning. And of course, what happens? We go outside to let the dog out to have a nice pee. And she's got to go so bad, she's whimpering. And yet she had enough before she peed to go chase down people. The only way I caught her, and the people are kind of laughing. I'm going, Lucy, from across the street. And I go walking across the street. People are going, hi, Lucy, hi, Lucy. And, and they're laughing about it. And she's got to go so bad. She's out there trying to chase him, and she's got to stop to piss. So I'm like, damn it, dog. So I caught up with her, and I was going to take her by the collar and walk her back. And I'm standing there. It felt like 3 minutes just watching her pee. It's like, really? Really? So you couldn't have stopped to pee before you had to chase after people, which are none of your business anyway. They're not in your yard. That's how she got hit by a car. We almost lost her almost 4 years ago now. And she was still fairly young. She was a couple of years old. And she liked to chase cars. Dumbass. Did that teach her anything? The car ran over her. It didn't break anything. It ran right over the top of her. And Raini called me. That's when I was down in Texas. And for about a month, she called me and said, oh, the dog got hit by a car. And we're watching her close. And she was tender for a while. Did that stop her from chasing cars? No. She still chases cars. So, anyway. Talking about Raini again. Raini is a good mom. And these kids are so used to her being a good mom that, now remember, I was the dad that was always protecting my children, my older children, from their mom. That's what I felt about my life. I was there to defend my kids and to stand up as the gap, in the gap between them and their mom. And when I was given sole custody of my kids, I was the defender of my older children until they were old enough to be on their own. And I always saw myself that way. And it was when Raini came on the scene, I was still in that role because these weren't her kids, but she took them on as stepmom. Even in our wedding ceremony, part of her vows was taking on my children as her own. And then, of course, we had our own kids, 3 of them. And so that to say that I never really experienced except at the very beginning for my ex-wife, when my older kids were little, when they were babies, it was a little different. But I never really experienced from the time that my ex-wife and I were divorced, which was 21 years ago. 22 years ago, we were separated. And my oldest twins are 30, as you know, those of you who follow my family. And my son, Sam the man, Sam the leprechaun, he, not for size, but for his red beard. Sam is 21. And those kids pretty much, Sam was born into the divorce. But the other 2, they grew up with dad being the defender from their mom. They loved their mom, but Sam probably manifests it more than the girls. He hasn't spoken to his mom in 5 years. And feels it every now and then. I told him, you have to do what your heart says, but also don't let that person, what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulate you into letting her into your life if you don't want her there. There was one time, though, the only advice I could give Sam within the last year was just, you have to tell your mom, This is not good for me and my life, so I need to cut you off for now. Not going to listen to this anymore. Bye. Call me when you can have a decent conversation. And so that's the kind of person she was. So all of that to say, many of you have heard the stories, the horror stories. Raini came into my life as that. And when she became the mom, that I will admittedly, there are times, I will confess this, there are times in my own life where I think I'm a little jealous of the attachment my 3 kids have to their mom. Not that I don't want that to exist, but that I was used to being that focal point for my kids. Now, she's like, do your thing, make a living, make sure we stay afloat, and I'll take care of the kids. And she's the one that does all the camping, all the scouting, all of that stuff is all stuff she's done for them. Now, guess what? Rainey just got a new job. She hasn't worked a job outside the home that's not related to being an independent contractor. She's a massage therapist. She started picking that up again a couple of years ago after not having done that for years. But she's tried many in-home things to generate cash and so on. And so she said, you know what? I'm going to get a job. You know what job she got? Lunch lady at the elementary school. She's a lunch lady at the elementary school, so she can see the girls during the day. Now, Flynn's going into middle school, 7th grade. He's in middle school. Rowan is going into the, I want to say the 5th grade, so she might be, I don't know, she's technically middle school or still in the elementary school this year. So 10 years old. So she's going into 4th grade or 5th grade. Wow, I don't know what grade she's in. And Ellery's going into 1st grade. Hey, Ellery, you're going into 1st grade, right? Or 2nd grade? What? Going into 2nd grade. Rowan's going into 4th grade? 5th, okay. So Ellery's 2nd grade. Rowan is 5th grade. Flynn is 7th grade. So those of you who have kids, you understand the meanings and the significance of all of that, of the ages and so on. But so now Rainey got a job being a lunch lady at the elementary school where Ellery will be there. Now, Ellery is joined at the hip with Rainey, like neither of the other two, but they all still see mom. So I had that. There wasn't jealousy because it wasn't bitter and it wasn't mean. It wasn't maladjusted. There was that twinge of, God, my 3 newer kids, my 3 younger kids don't seem to need me as much as my 3 older kids. I said that to Rainey once, and she said, have you ever stopped to think about that? Your 3 older kids didn't have a mom who gave a shit about them. And unless it served her purpose. And because Rainey lived through a lot of that with me, with my ex-wife. And so yeah, I get it. So, you know, I miss my little kids wanting to be around me all the time. Even Ellery, you know, mom's not here. So sister went for a sleepover at her friend's house last night. And Flynn's not here. Rainey's not here. So Ellery crawls into bed with me. And so we watched a movie at bedtime. That's the movie we watched last night that we were talking about earlier. And so Roger Rabbit says, my friends called me a lunch lady in middle school. I worked in the cafeteria washing dishes. I got to leave class early, eat lunch early, get free ice cream treats, and I got paid $5 a day. It was awesome. That sounds awesome. As a kid, so in the 5th grade, you said you were? Or did you say? While you were in middle school. Okay. Well, 7th, 8th grade, somewhere in there. So that's awesome. So if you were as old as I was, $5 a day, let's see, that's $25 a week. $25 a week was a lot of money when I was a kid. wasn't like, Depression era 30s or something like that. $25, but yeah, when I grew up and I first started earning money in the early to mid 1970s, I would make $10 for helping the men. That was my mentor. He was a fireplace builder. I worked for him on Saturday mornings. We'd go do stuff, tuck pointed chimney or something like that, and he'd pay me $10 for the day. And $10 back then, I think I looked it up. Somebody wants to look it up and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think $10 in 1972 is equal to having $37 in 2022. Oh, at least 2021. 2022, it might be the same because of the inflation, the value of the dollar. So, yeah, that was fun making money back then. That's pretty cool, Roger Rabbit. $25 a week was a lot of money back in, when did you grow up? In the 90s? Let's see, because you're not that old. You're around 30, I'm assuming. I don't know that for sure. So it might be younger than that. So you 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. There's a lot of dishes, but worth it for sure. Not many kids got a paycheck from their middle school. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I was, by the way, one of my first real jobs. Well, I was an apprentice to the fireplace builder when I was 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. And then after he passed away, I actually got a job as a dishwasher. My mom was married to a guy who was part of the Fraternal Order of Eagles. And so the Eagles Club was looking for a dishwasher. So at 14, I got to go down and be a dishwasher. And I think of 14 as being abysmally young nowadays. But I must have pulled it off all right because I got hired. I think legally I wasn't supposed to be able to work until I was 16. And I don't know about any of the legalities behind my paycheck, but it wasn't much. I'd work 2 days a week, I think. Thursdays and Fridays, or Fridays and Saturdays. Why? What's on your charm bracelet? So there you go. There's Ellery wants me to show you her charm bracelet. It's got Stitch from Lilo and Stitch on it. Boom.
There used to be a charm that said a girl who loves Stitch, but then that fell off.
All right. Whatever she said. Didn't catch it all. Anyway. So. Love lunch, ladies. Yeah. I told Raini, I said, watch out for 7th, 8th, 9th grade boys. I said, you're going to be the hot lunch lady. Hot. Is it so? She got that going for her. So, anyway, I don't know if I've even got a topic anymore. That's the COVID. That's the hangover from COVID. So, what have I got? Nothing else really. This week in an Intrepid Radio, we're going to just pick up where we left off and hit some interesting topics this week. Some of the paranormal stuff, some of the deeper stuff, some of the psychological stuff. I got a lot of that stuff to talk about. So we'll just see how we balance it all out. So everybody enjoys, and there's something for everybody on this show. And it's the something of the things that I like. So if you like what I talk about, we got more of that coming all week long, Monday through Friday. And unless I relapse or something over the next few days, we should be here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, for the Intrepid Radio broadcast, to make it sound hoity-toity. Grumpy, I'll probably be able to talk this afternoon, I'm pretty sure. Almost any time, just not right after the show. Let's give it a couple hours. And who knows? I may go take a nap. I woke up and said, oh, I'm going to do radio this morning, but I really should just lay back down. But I got up anyway. Walt Disney classic. I like when a man in black guy visits Leo's house with a dark sunglasses and Stitch. Oh, Lilo and Stitch. Throws a book in his face. Yeah, my kids love Lilo and Stitch, Matthew. I was a commercial fishing salmon seining on my dad's boat from age 5. Was doing real. This is David Otness. Was doing real work on the boat by age 7. First halibut trip at 8 or 9 on ocean and got seasick is all fix. I get it. That's pretty cool. When you grow up that way, it's different. There are some kids, city kids, you could call them. All of us. I was a city kid. They grew up not knowing shit about shit and didn't know what they were doing. You try to get a 7-year-old to wash dishes at home or a 10-year-old, they can kind of do it, but they don't get it. It's a task to be done as quickly as you can and get over it, as opposed to going, this is my home. These are my things. This is what I do to help my home stay nice, neat, and clean. And I stepped in some kind of sticky goo all over the kitchen floor. I don't think it was alien secretions, but somebody spilled something. But my children are of the mind that if I spill something, somebody's going to come and wipe that up after me and clean it up, correct? And Raini's not that way. She's not like, I'm going to clean your mess for you. She's like, get your mess cleaned up. And I'm the same way. Hey, if you make a mess, clean up your mess. Conversely, if you don't make a mess, you don't have to clean one up. But the biggest thing has been the last few years. Wash your dish when you're done. Rinse it and put it in the dishwasher. Or take the spray. We got that spray soap. Psst. Give it a spray, sponge it out, wash it, dry it, put it in the drying rack. It's done. Then it doesn't pile up for the person who has to do the dishes, which is usually me. I'm the one who cleans the kitchen all the time. Now, I've been out of commission for the last few days. You can only imagine the unholy hell that is my kitchen right now. So yesterday, I had to ride herd and say, you two girls, you're the only ones who've been here all week eating and making things dirty. I said, look at this kitchen and look at the living room. The living room, and there's stuff all over. You couldn't even find the floor. And so I told them, clean up your dishes. It took me 2 days to get them because I go, clean up your dishes. Come on. Okay, when I'm done watching this thing. No, do it now. And when I bark out that order, I'm usually on my way to my bedroom because I'm just absolutely exhausted this last week. And I'd go lay down and you come out at later in the evening and they still haven't cleaned up their dishes. And I'm like, does my word mean nothing here? My small children, get these dishes cleaned up now. Oh, we're just getting ready to go to bed. And I'm like, and see, that's how detached I was this week. And I felt so guilty about that I couldn't be more involved. I planned things to do. Now we still got nearly 2 weeks left before Raini and Flynn get home. Then I got time to do things with the kids now. That first 5 days, I was out of commission. And we didn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. So candy wrappers, Elderberry. He throws candy wrappers over his shoulder on the floor. Mine too. He got a hold of his ear and made him pick him up. Yeah. That's, I tell my kids, I'm like, they'll do it in front of me. Eating some cheese stick, individually wrapped, and talking to me and eating their cheese stick. And I'm like, did you just throw your wrapper on the floor? Do you know there's a garbage can right there? Why would you throw? And I asked them, Why would you even throw that on the floor after all the time since you've been a baby who could barely speak language? You've been told, throw your trash in the trash can. But every time we clean the house, Rainey and I, and the kids are at school or something, and we'd be cleaning and find candy wrappers and cheese stick wrappers and whatever kind of wrapper that exists. And it's like, why are they not just throwing these away? And, you know, as recently as just a few days ago, it's like, why are there wrappers? They come down when I was sleeping. They come down to my office to use my computer. My floor was full of wrappers, candy wrappers mostly. Again, cheese stick wrappers, stuff like that's the snacks they eat, cheese sticks and stuff. And they're junk all over. I go, my office is off limits for your version of hell. It stays out there, not in my office. And every day on my desk. See, now I cleaned it up yesterday. I cleaned it up because I needed space on my desk, but I put it all over there on the floor. And I called them. I said, you two, get your stuff and take care of it. Dirty dishes, makeup, markers, things like that. I love promoting their artistic side. And you can use my desk when I'm not there. But clean up. I don't want to come down and, there were pop cans all over my desk. See, this is one of the things of mom being out of town and dad being sick. How many pops did you have today? Soda pops? What? I didn't. I only had one. Why are there 8 cans on my desk? You get it. So, even the best of kids, the cats will play when the mice will play when the cat's away, kind of thing. All the windows had trash in them. They made me work too hard. They threw candy wrappers behind the TV and the dressers. Yeah, it's like they work so hard at finding creative places to throw their trash, they could have just walked it to the garbage can. It's like, do you know it would have taken you less time to put that in the trash can under my desk? And so I got this sitting right under my desk. Trash can. And it's right there, right under the desk. All they'd have to do is throw their wrapper in there. So why do I find wrappers all over my desk, over on the other side on the floor, all over the floor between here and the stairway? Because they can't find the trash can. And there's one in the bathroom that's about 12 feet away from me right here. So, the trials and tribulations of being a parent. So, anyway, kids. But they've got a good mom, is where that all started. Rainey is a very attentive mom. Makes me feel a little jealous in a not negative, nasty way of my kids' affection for my wife. You know, she's the one that's always there, always doing stuff. When I was a single dad, I was the one always there, always doing stuff, always working, and did it all. And now that I've got Rainey, who is an overly involved mom, and she's not a clingy mom. She's just super involved in their lives and makes it happen that way. She is an amazing woman. They are lucky to have a mom like her, but it leaves me at times feeling like, well, how come I didn't know about that? Oh, I planned this thing with the kids, this event that they have to go to. And a lot of it's scouts, and I get tired of scouts sometimes, as you all know, and you've heard. But because it seems to consume so much of our time. But it's like, what else would they do? Star Trek fan club. So, you know, when I had my older kids, and I was a single dad, I was alone. I was doing the Renaissance Festival, And I was doing our military reenacting. And that stuff I took the kids to. They were part of that with me. Part of our 17th century and 18th century Scottish red-coated military reenacting, French and Indian War stuff, rendezvous, American Revolutionary War. We did all that stuff. That's the stuff we did. We didn't do scouts. And so trash can has clothes and trash. There you go. Yeah, elderberry. Same thing. Clothes and trash. Or I love going through their piles of clothes and finding like, well, why is my extra microphone for radio? Why is that in your clothes pile? I don't know. I didn't put it there. But it's in your room, in your clothing pile. I didn't put it there. I have no idea. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So there's Uncle Dave. He's in Iowa heading south to a family reunion, so he won't be able to continue a chat. Well, Dave, we're almost done with the chat, so it's good to see you. Oh, you were in there up there. Hey, everybody, he said. Glad you could make it in. Good to see you, brother. You have fun at your family reunion. So, anyway, there it is. I think the thing that just pops into my head is Raini and I have a respect for each other, which is, even when times have been tough, we still respect each other. There are things my wife does for me. There are times where I'm like craving her attention because she gives so much attention to the kids. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on, woman? I need some attention too. She's like, well, you're a grown-up. You can handle it. We got to do for these kids too. And she's right about that. But then she'll just surprise me. It'll just be some certain little thing, no matter what it is, It could be something, as much as, I come in and she goes, I cleaned your paintbrushes today. The kids used them. I cleaned them. Thank you. Or here, I got you your own flashlight. Stuff like that. Raini does that stuff. Now that seems minor and small, but the things my wife will do for me sometimes is amazing. She could be like, I could be feeling sore, and she goes, I ain't massaging you. I don't have time. I don't have the energy to massage you. And it's not cold and callous like that, but then she goes and does something anyway. So she'll do things you don't even think about, that are the little things that people who love each other and care about each other do for each other. Hey, Heather White from Scotland. Good evening, folks, or good morning, wherever you are. Good to see you. So I always want to break into Scottish brogue when I see you, but I don't half the time because I don't want to insult you. We do our Scottish brogue, but it's not Scottish. It's Americans trying to be Scottish. So, aye, lass. So, I'm doing okay, Heather. I'm almost back to normal. Almost. Still just feels like a bad cold right now. So, we're getting there. A few days of Raini's out of town with the oldest boy, and so it's me and the two little girls at home all week, and I've been sick all week. So that hasn't been any fun for them. So hopefully we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now. If I can do 2 hours of radio on Sunday morning, I can certainly handle and pull my weight around here. But thank you for the well wishes, Heather. And are you able to do Ticonderoga with Raini and the kids doing scouts and having to move? And not over the next month for sure. Russ, things are so up in the air with when we can do Ticonderoga. I want to do it. So way to ask me in public. So I got to answer it right here. I don't know yet. we've got, hopefully, now we've got until the end of September to move, but we're going to try to do it by the end of August, which is really only 3 weeks from now. That doesn't really save us any money. You know how much money it costs to move, folks. It's like, we strain it to make our rent and all our other bills, and some months. And now, in order to move in the United States these days, it's not just regional. You got to come up with, first of all, the remaining months that you're living where you are, if it's a month or 2 months before you're done. But then you got to come up with, for the new place, down payment, which is equal to a month's rent, plus the first month's rent. Many places want the first and last month rent. I think they've started dropping that a bit because and at the same time, when I was mentioning the prices, we now pay almost, now we pay $500 more per month for this place than we did at the place we were at that we moved out of a year ago. And then the same identical place as this down the street wanted $300 more on top of that. It's the economy. I said, it's the economy. I said, seriously? I said, I think it's more greed. And I was polite about it. I said, you're the leasing agent, but you can't tell me this is all just because of the cost to operate a leasing agency, to rent out a property that's already built and maintain it. Well, it's the increasing costs. I get that. Everything's going up everywhere. But what do you have to pay for this house? You pay your mortgage payment on it. Does the mortgage payment go up for you at the bank? What kind of mortgage do you have on this place when you built it? Because you don't pay the electricity. You don't pay the utilities. You don't pay the internet or the other bills that maintain a house. And you don't pay the rent. Our rent covers that. Your cost of your costs plus your profit margin. And I said, so you're raising rent $300 more than this place? And it's the same place? 6 houses away? So that makes no sense to me. Yeah, it is. It is insane, Beth. And that's why the house we did find over on the other side of the tracks, that would be I think we're on the bad side of the tracks now. No, I don't think it matters here. To find a place that was the same amount as this place, just a hair less even, was a pretty good deal. So you're looking to move to Arizona. The rent there for a 2-bedroom, two bath is $1,500 and up. It's crazy. Yeah. My mom moved to Yuma, Arizona, Beth, it was about the time Raini and I were first getting really serious. It was about a year before we were married, but we were living together in sin. And, and I had my 3 kids, and we took over my mom's house. Raini owned a house of her own, and about a mile from my mom's house, and we took over my mom's house. And then we moved from there to the ranch. We started buying the ranch a year later. But when my mom moved to Yuma, she started renting a house from a friend of hers that was down there and still lives there now. And she's been renting it all these years since 2006. And she is really grateful, but she does okay financially, and she takes care of them too. And so shaken up, says Beth. Let's see. Gas prices. The UK has gone into a recession, just like the United States has gone into a recession. Oh, wait. We're redefining what recession means. So we're not actually in a recession, right? Heather says, I stay in a 2-bedroom flat, 1 bathroom. It's really small, and it's 450 square feet, or how do you measure it? Is that how you mean? Oh, 450 pounds. I've been here for 5 years, but now you can't get a 1-bedroom here for that price. Yeah. Landlord can't raise the rent. LOL. Well, that's nice. So you're kind of stuck too, until you build that fabulously amazing mansion. Okay. Yeah. So 450 pounds. She said. She clarified. So and you've got 2 boys. You don't have 3, do you? I think you just have 2, right, Heather? It's the way my mind's working right now. It's like, I got to ask you. I always see pictures of the 2 boys and like them. So you got 2 little boys at home. So 2. Okay. There it is. So, yeah. Heather's an amazing artist too, folks, by the way. We met back when I was editor-in-chief of Taps Paramag magazine. So that would have been, Heather, God, that would have been 2009 or 10. Does that sound right? You're so young. I want to say, I didn't meet you when you were a school kid. So I don't think you had kids when I first met you. And there it is. Aiden and Callum are her 2 little boys, sweet little boys. And so I remember when Heather and I met, and she does a lot of things, a lot of different things. She's an amazing artist. You should go check her out. You can probably find her on Instagram. You can find her on, I believe I've got you on Instagram. I'm sure on Facebook for sure, Heather White. And so go check out some of her work. So I love your work, by the way, Heather. No, I wasn't at school. I was like 24. Feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah. Wow. So you're old like me. No, sorry, I didn't mean to age you that rapidly. So anyway, yeah. So I've known her since my Taps Paramag days. And so Scotland, I've always wanted to ask you how the economy is working in Scotland these days. You just kind of gave us a picture. Kind of the same thing we're facing here. Everything's doubling in price. You can leave school at 16, not like in the States. I think you can at 16 here in the States. I think 16 is the age when you can drop out of school. If I'm not mistaken, if anybody knows about that. What?
I'm leaving school when I'm 16.
Not if you're living under my roof. How's that for a parent line?
I'll move.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah.
I think it's 16 here, but I'm not sure. So yeah, a food shop here is almost double the price, and gas, says Heather. And Susie Q dropped out at 16. And yeah, it's almost double the price on some things. I know Raini buys certain things, gluten-free stuff and all that, and she's cued in to the prices of things, and she's paying double now for some things that she paid half of what it is now 4 months ago, even. So yeah, grocery bill is astronomical. We just went out and spent $300 on groceries for the house before Raini left. And then I went out the other day with the girls, Thursday, the first day I was feeling better. And we went out and grabbed a few things at the grocery store. And of course, because I had COVID, I wasn't supposed to be out in public until yesterday, I think it was. But so I had to mask up and everything. Not for my protection. Not that it does any good, really. But it makes everybody feel better if they knew you had COVID. So we went out and had to grab a few things. And I absolutely needed them. So I pushed the cart, and I had Rowan with me, and she would grab the stuff off the shelf and put it in the cart. We spent $100 just getting milk and I don't know what we got. Bread. That's when we tried to get ice cream the other day, and the ice cream shelves were all empty. So the whole frozen food section was, well, it all worked except for the ice cream section. So there was no ice cream. So it's ridiculous. And of course, not to be political by this statement, but the Biden administration is now taking credit for gas prices coming down. look at what we did. We've lowered gas prices. And it's like, yeah, but they're still $2 more than they were when you came into office. So remember, that started as, I don't remember what the problem was that they blamed it on. But I remember it became Putin's problem. Now it's the Republicans' problem for not voting for certain legislation or voting down certain legislation. And they play that up. I think sometimes the other side will always put up legislation that they know the other side is not going to pass because of the shit that's attached to it. And when people go, oh, and then they make a big thing, oh, the Republicans, they didn't vote on this because they don't care about people. Well, no, it's that they don't think $400 billion should go to researching transgender studies attached to a bill on improving the economy. So they go, no, absolutely not. Give us a clean bill. So where'd I see what, Beth? That what Biden is claiming to you don't know that? It's all over the news. Biden is claiming in the last few days as an attempt to try to counter the fact that the jobs news came out and look, we've increased, by I think Biden, even I saw him saying it. Well, we were planning on 200,000 new jobs, but we only had about 150,000 new jobs, but we still think that's pretty good for not being in a recession, he said. And yeah, it's political game playing, Matthew Sainsbury. That's all it is, because there's midterm elections coming up. The Biden administration can't afford to lose any seats in the House or in the Senate, Congress in general. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to put lipstick on a pig. And the world leaders have very little to do with gas prices. It's trolls and fairies in the deep down dark bowels of OPEC. Yeah, well, we wouldn't have to deal with that, Beth, if on the first day he was in office, Biden hadn't shut down domestic oil production. Remember, we were domestically oil independent when he came into office. And if you don't think that's a thing, you got to dig a little deeper. Just like you're saying, dig deep into OPEC, dig deep into what is actually permissible and not permissible since the Biden administration took office. Talk to somebody in the oil business, and they'll tell you. So we should be producing our own. We have enough what they call fossil fuels beneath the ground to last us at current consumption 250 years. If you think we can't tap into that and maintain until we develop something better, if we can't develop a better thing than the combustible gas engine in the next 200 years, there's something wrong with us. So that'll happen. But gas does not have to be as high as it is in the United States. Neither can the Republicans. He did not shut down the oil. Yes, he did, Beth Kirkham. You need to study that a little deeper. It's not what you hear on TV.
Is my blush too much?
Yeah, it's too much. He did. No offense to you, Beth. He did shut down. Go check out his executive orders. Go check out what the oil producing companies are allowed to do and not allowed to. Biden keeps saying, well, there's all this. We got 9,000 leases. They can. No. That is not what is the fact of the matter. Got to look into it a little deeper. Sorry, I don't mean that to be insulting to you at all, but anybody who thinks that, you need to go dig in a little deeper. And because this isn't a show about politics, and I didn't research any of this up, so I had the facts in front of me. I could do it ad hoc, and we could go look some stuff up right now, but we'd be here for another hour and a half. I could present a show on that. We could do that. And but seriously, though, in all due respect, Beth, you got to go dig a little deeper than political party. That's them's the facts. No, the companies who can drill cannot tap into that. They have contracts, but they cannot make it financially viable. Don't tell me it's not financially viable. Maybe the only viability factor is the fact that the Biden administration has done something to make it no longer financially viable. And they're not doing anything to remedy that, Tell me what the Biden administration has done to remedy domestic oil production. Maybe you can win me over if you can show me the positive steps the Biden administration has done. No, the Biden administration is all about promoting the Green New Deal type of thinking. Why do you think they keep pushing electric cars? Why do they say this new recession relief bill that's been all the news over the last week? Why are they pushing in that electric cars, all the tax credits for companies building electric cars? Well, that only applies to, there's 70% of those companies that don't apply, that cannot apply to that. So there's only certain companies that the government is pushing by their legislation. It tells you something, doesn't it?
Is my nose too shiny?
Yep, a little too shiny. So anyway, those are off the top of my head and my weekend head on top of that. You dig deeper than I ever will. I'm not a follower of Sheep for Trump. Well, if you want to get insulting that way, Beth, that's bullshit. Because I'm not talking about Trump here right now. I'm not talking about Trump being the great white hope. I'm not talking about any of that. You brought that up, not me. And as far as digging deeper, I dig a hell of a lot deeper than that. So let's not hear those two phrases put together again when trying to tell me I don't dig deep enough. What did Matt Finn said something here? The women suffers from cognitive dissonance. It's a lifetime of narrative being spoon-fed by the left-wing media. That's it. Heather White says, definitely it's high here, but it was something about transporting it from Russia to here at the start of that war. But there's no issues now, so it should come back down. Well, yeah, that's what we were told too. Here we are, we're condemning Putin on one hand as being evil and needs to be taken out. This is what Joe Biden said, our president, and yet we were still buying gas from him at the beginning of the onset of the Ukrainian war. So we're apparently, at least on the surface, we're told we're not anymore. But I think you dig a little deeper. Beth, I'm not trying to insult you at all. I'm telling you, if you're going to link Trump into this and say that's my motivation, that's bullshit. So I didn't say your whole idea still needs to be looked at. You need to, I think, study this a little deeper. And that's what prompted you to say that I need to look deeper, because you look deep enough and I'm just not, you just don't have a Trump as our savior as your going campaign. Neither do I. So that's the bullshit that creates political polarization. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you think should be president. Don't use that line on me to say that I don't study my facts enough. So I do know one thing. If you want to go, you link Biden into it. That's because it's what Biden says. For Pete's sake, just look at what the man says. Now, are they his words that he slips in there behind his handlers, who go nuts every time he goes off script? I don't know. I'm talking about what Biden is doing right now in the now. So Biden is the direct result. Biden is the direct result when he closes the pipeline the day after he gets inaugurated, but just about to be energy independent. There it is. What do you think I'm using on you, Beth? I didn't use any argument like that on you. I made an argument and I said it's worse now than it was. And it's the Biden administration who has openly admitted it. It's the Biden administration who is mishandling it in the now, current. I don't care what your politics are. Don't care what mine are. I'm saying, what are the facts? What's the black and white? It's the Biden administration has created the crisis in the United States. The Biden administration has created the inflation in the United States. The Biden administration, after 17 months in office, 18 now, 19 are we pushing? We've now hit our second quarter in a row of what makes this a recession without defining it. I don't want to get too deep into it. The pipeline violates native treaties. Yeah, it does. And it should be stood against in certain. They could also have negotiated better with those tribes. I think what happened is the United States came in. The reason it violates the treaties is they gave the sovereign nations no opportunity to be at the table even. And they thought by eminent domain, we can do this. This is exactly what they did in the 19th century by taking away their land in the first place. There is a valid issue there, but there are also workarounds to that valid issue that could be done. Biden did not shut down the pipeline because of Native American treaties. Biden shut down the pipeline in accordance with his deals to try to take us off of fossil fuels, which is ridiculous. So then he goes begging the Saudis and begging other countries for our oil. Why does he do that? Because he doesn't care what other countries do. He just cares to take the United States off the grid. So, yeah, he has to go begging somewhere else because he shut our own down. If you can define stupid better than that, let me know what that is. Politically stupid. Not in accordance with the best interests of the citizens of the United States, which he took an oath to defend. Okay, we're going to shut that part of the conversation out. So we're going to stop talking about that now before I get more heated than I am. Apparently, Beth doesn't know you. Intellectually, you're one of the most unpartisan, look at both sides of the coin people I follow. That's why I watch it. Well, thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've always gotten oil from the Saudis. I didn't say we didn't. Why is he begging for more oil from the Saudis? Why is he begging? If we've always gotten it, why aren't we getting it now? Why is he begging? What's he begging for? More? A better price? Because he doesn't want to have to reopen United States drilling. So, in accordance with his deals with the green people. Look this stuff up and dig deeper. That's all I'm going to say. And we're going to cut it off now. How about the new studio? Any plans in the works? You talking about this studio? Once we move, yeah. I'm going to be in a semi-finished basement. They obviously had bedrooms down there, but they can't legally advertise it because there's no egress windows. If all of you who have owned houses and you know what egress windows are, I have, and it's BS. Beth Kirkham, I have too. I think we're around the same age. I've been watching politics since I was 17 years old in high school, which would make it 1977. So we'll leave it there. I've been watching politics for an awful long time and looking at both sides an awful long time. So we'll leave it there for now. We can have this discussion another time. Let's do no mic dropping or anything like that in this conversation and then run. Just agree that we can have this conversation in a different way at a different time. So we'll both come prepared and we'll present our facts. Right now, I'm just going off the top of my head what I know. So, new studio. We've got this basement. It's got a concrete floor, and it's a concrete floor. It's kind of patchy looking. You know, it's never really been finished off. I think it had a layer of something put on it. So what we're going to do is probably paint those floors, and we won't epoxy them. You know, I don't need to put thousands of dollars into a house I don't own. But I could see us doing that. Thanks, Beth. And I respect you too. So, we are going to do something with that room. The big open room It's not the laundry room. It's just a big open room. It's about the size of this whole studio down here. It's got the furnace and the water heater in it. I can't remember if it's closed off under the steps or what it is, but it's down there. But it's a big open room. So we'll probably end up painting a brighter color on the floor and putting a gloss coat on it or something. So it cleans up the look a little bit, and we put down throw rugs, like Persian rugs or something like that. There's also the 2 big bedrooms, huge bedrooms down there. And those rooms, I want to say,
I call the master.
excuse me.
I call the master bedroom.
Okay, you can call it anything you want, child. I think those 2 bedrooms are almost the size of this room now that I look at it. So the main room is a little bigger. But all of those, there's no bathroom downstairs. There's only 1 bathroom in the house. I'm sorry, 2. There's the main bathroom, and then there's a little, what they're calling a half bath off the master bedroom. So, but there's 3 bedrooms up. The big open format kitchen to dining room to living room. And then downstairs, the big rooms. So she can't really advertise those. But we can put in an egress window in there for a couple of $100. And I'm not going to ask her to do it, for she doesn't have to. Because she's not promoting that as using it as a bedroom. But we said, would you be averse to us doing that ourselves? She said, you can go right ahead and do that if you'd like. Now that helps her out, but it also shows her how responsible we are. Rainey was even thinking, as I said earlier, it would be a house that she wouldn't mind looking into buying. It's all stuffed up now from sneezing. And I've sneezed more this week than I have in years. So combined. Elderberry, I like the Captain's Corner ad on Facebook. Can you play that? Are you going to play the opener for the Captain's Cabin? I can do that. Hold on, folks. Remember, after the show, Monday through Friday, not today, but after the show is officially off the air, we go from 9 to 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Then you can join us for the Captain's Cabin, which is an informal thing. And the Captain's Cabin kind of goes like this. Here you go. Here's the opening for the Captain's Cabin. There you go, Elderberry. There's the Captain's Cabin. For the blind, says Matt Finn. There you go. Here's a link, guys. Matt Finn says, for the blind, abcnews.go.com/politics. Intimate moment, Biden vows to end fossil fuels. There you go. That is his great plan that he was convinced by somebody needed doing. And I think it's a debt he's paying to those who got him into office this last go around. We'll leave it at that. We will have maybe a Captain's Cabin this week where we'll have a free-for-all where anybody who wants to, we can come in and we'll discuss this topic. Oil and the shutdown of domestic oil, the loyalty to a cause. What cause are you loyal to? Are you loyal to anything that's anti-Trump, which would be Biden? Or are you loyal only to Trump? And how does that dictate the way you see things playing out in the country. I think it would be a good idea. I hope it doesn't. It's horrible. It is horrible. So we're looking, hopefully the midterm elections will help us all start to see the end of the nonsense. And so we'll see what happens. All right, guys, we got more political today than we like to get. But again, this is an Intrepid Radio. This is the Sunday morning show. It's Sunday, and we do our thing here. And well, join us for the show this week, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, and Monday through Friday this week. And then after the show, right after the show is 1 hour on the radio, on Odyssey Radio. Then we jump into the captain's cabin, and we can be as informal as we want to be. So that's all we got for today, folks. Look at that. I didn't think we'd make it an hour. We've gone 2 hours and 20 minutes. So let's get out of here. Let's let you go have fun with your day. Thank you for being here, for having coffee with me this morning. Thank you all for wanting to argue politics is evidence of indoctrination. Well, there it is, Brian Parker. We talk about it when we talk about spirituality on this show and being indoctrinated or inculcated into a certain way of thinking. Sometimes we have to dig deeper and look at the facts and find out what it is we've been inculcated into or indoctrinated into, and then uninculcate ourselves, unindoctrinate ourselves, and separate ourselves and say, look for the common sense rather than party affiliation, rather than personality affiliation, rather than even a personality cult, quote unquote, can even be hatred of a different personality that can drive it. So it's all out there. And we've seen polarization because the media has made it that way. This is the way somebody behind the scenes wants our world to operate. Complete polarization. So I love politics, Beth Kirkham. My show would be all about politics, but I got tired of it after a while. So yeah, it's hard to relate in the chat forum. I get it. And I agree with you there. So everybody, have a good day. Roger Rabbit, you too. You just said that. Beth, have a great day. Elderberry, Roger, Brian, Susie Q, Matt Finn, Master Finn, and Elderberry, and everybody else. Matthew Sainsbury. I'm just scrolling back and making sure I got David Otness. And I think I said Roger Rabbit, Remeldian. All of you, everybody who was in here today. I appreciate you being here. If I missed you, it's because I missed you, not because I omitted you. So, you know what? I want you to have a good day. I want you to have fun today. Go out and we'll see you again tomorrow night. So, guys, live long and prosper.